welcome to another session, day 20. Can you imagine? We are 11 days away from the end of the 31 marathon. Thank you so much for sticking with me all through this one. Today, we have examined a very, to many people, difficult or it's just a very problematic formula in Excel. Index and match. Two simple functions, but I don't know. They just have a way of making it a bit hard for people to understand. Even for myself, many times I have to read myself over and over and over again. And so if you don't get it in the first try, it's fine, right? It's fine, right? Just keep on practicing, right? So we'll get into the class. We understand index separately, how to reference a particular cell using the row and column number, and match, right? How to get the positioning of a particular lookup value, right? It's as simple as that, and how you can use that instead of VLOOKUP, and how it solves the issues that we identified that occur in VLOOKUP, right? So let's get into the class, and I'll see you afterwards.
So we're looking at index and match today. Index and match, right? It is one of the very complicated formulas in Excel. It's very simple, but because it's just very unique, right? It's very simple on their own. Index is simple, match is simple. We're putting it together, index and match, right? To do what VLOOKUP will do, right? It's can be hard, right? To be honest, right? Sometimes I have to remind myself every time again, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? Right? So today that's what we'll be looking at, index and match. I will do them individually, index separate, match separate. The try my possible best to put it together, index and match, right? And index and match together will do what VLOOKUP will do, and it will do it in a more dynamic way, right? So remember in VLOOKUP, you can only that there's certain limitations. That means your lookup value, right, must be in the first column, right? The first column of your table, right? It must always be there, right? But with index and match, it can be anywhere, right? It doesn't matter the position of your lookup value or your unique identifier, right? So what index does is that index, right, using the row and column position, you'll be able to, using index, but I'm sorry, let's get into it, right? Before I explain this, right? So equals to index, right? I think except of the best system, right? It returns a value or reference of the cell at the intersection of a particular row and column given the range. That means that for index, right, you will tell Excel, this is the range, right? Return column 4, row 2. So start from the beginning and count column 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, row 2, 1, 2, and give you. So for example, if I said Excel in this table, right, give me row 2, column 4, right? Row 2, this is your first row, this is your second row, right? That's if I start from here. But if I start from here, right, this is my second and this is my third. But assuming this is what we are starting with, them just this is the table we are using, color it in yellow. This is if I say Excel, give me index this table and give me row 3, column 2, row 3. That means count 1, 2, 3, column 2, 1, 2, and you give me male. Do you understand? Right? So it counts row 3, that is 1, 2, 3, and 3 row column 1, 2, 3 as well. So it goes 1, this 2, and this 3, and also count column 1, 2, and 3, right? So that's what basically index is, right? So let's use the formula now, right? So for the formula for index, right, is just simple, right? Equals to index, right? I'm doing this as basic as possible. And I will now show you how we use in the in the lookup function. I'm just trying to teach us as basic as it comes, right? So I said this is the array, right? You're looking at, right? This is the array, right? And so the next thing is row number. Row number means what's the how many rows should it go, right? So let's say I want you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 rows, right? 4 rows and 3 columns, right? So 4 rows and 3 columns give me female, right? So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3 columns 1, 2, 3 as female. Do you understand? It's as basic as that, right? All you have to do is define the array, define the role, and define the column. It's as simple as that. Define the array, right? The array does not have to be as big. It can be just one array. It can be two lines. It can be three lines, depending on the array you're looking at, right? So that's index, right? Index can look at a wide array, right? So it can be a five because it depends on the number of rows and number of columns. So, for example, we have how many columns do we have here? We have one, two, three, four, four, five, six columns, right? So if I come here and I put column number as 7, right? So I change column number to 7, right? It will give an error because it's over the array, right? It's over the array. It's as in the table has only 7 columns, right? The array I put. But if I want it to work, I will have to increase the array, right? And to give me 0 because like now I've increased the array. Right. I hope you understand. So that's index, right? Now for match, right? What index will return the reference, that is what is in the cell, right? Match will return the position of of the particular row or column, right? The position of that particular lookup value. So, for example, if I say I'm looking for Paul Silas, right, and I say look for Paul Silas in this column, right? What it will do is that it will count it 1, 2, 3. So Paul Silas is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Paul Silas is at the fifth. So let me use my marker, right? So Paul Silas is this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So Posadas is at number 5, right? So tell me Posadas is my fifth rule, right? If I reference this as my array, right? Will tell me as a fifth rule. However, if I reference the the row now as my array, that means I reference this part. Let me give it a different color. Let me use red, right? Now, if I reference this as my array, right, that is from here, right? I reference this as my array, right? So I'm referencing the row, right, instead of the column, right, as my array, right? It will give me a answer of 1 because Posilas is at my first. Is my first column of the multiple columns I highlighted, right? So basically, what I'm saying is that it depends on what you are highlighting, right? An example of match, right? So for match, right? Match will give the position number, right? So if I do equals to match, right? Look of value is Onyeka Ogu, right? And I'm looking at this, right, from up to down here, right? And I want an exact match, right? You see, give me 4 because Onyeka Ogu is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's in the fourth role, right? I can also find Onyeka position in terms of column, right? Now looking at column 1, 2, 3, 4, right? If I come here and I do equals to match, right? Lookup array is still Onyeka Ogu, and lookup array is now this, right? And I want an exact match. You can see give me 1, right? So it is both 4 and it's both 1, right? Depending on what I'm referencing. So basically, match will give us the position number of the row or the column, right? So you can give us the position number of the row or the column, right? What index and match? What index will tell us what, and based on the particular row number and column number, it will tell us what is in that cell. Do you understand? Right? That's what index will do, and that what match will do. Now let's combine them together, index and match, to do a VLOOKUP, right? So now let's say we want to look up Tiwa Jazzy, for example, right? I want to use index and match, right? So this what we'll do, right? Index, right? We want to index, right? The first one is to select the array, right? This is the array, right? Which is fine, right? And I can just come here and make my array a data table, just like as I mentioned before, right? But now, if I've got a data table starting from the students, right, I have to bear that in mind. It's not in Larry, so it's from 5 to 17, right? And say that's fine with me, right? So now I have my array, right? I mean, I'm just trying to remove the formatting. Now, I'll do equals to index, right? Now, what is my array, right? My array is that this, right? This table from year to year. I think it should be called table something, right? So let me just mention. Let's give it a name, right? So let's call this name. Let's call this I don't know table name to call it. I'll call it Apple, for example. I'll just call this Apple, right? So equals to index, right? The array is apple, right? Now, we have selected the array. Now, what's the row number we want for Tiwa, right? And what's the column number we want, right? Now, we can't be manually putting Tiwa Savage 134. It defeats the purpose. Do you understand? It defeats the purpose. Now, which formula will give us the row number and column number? Guess that's right. It is match. Match can give us the row number and match can give us the column number. Because in index formula, what we need is the row number and the column number. Right. So we know what at the end of the day, I'll type it up here is equals to index, right? The apple as the array, right? And we need a particular number for row and a particular number for column, right? That's what we want, right? But now we don't know how we're going to get this row number. Just put the row number and column number, right? And how to get the row number and column number? We will now use match to get the row number and column number. Remember, I told you match, right? You can get what particular row. For match, you can get what particular role the position of where Onyeka is, right? So now, using match, right? Can we get Tiwa Savage is in the role, right? So role, right? Once we get Tiwa Jazzy, right? In this particular top to bottom, right? We want to get Tiwa Jazzy in this lookup array, right? And we want it to be exact match, right? So it gives us 3, right? So we know this is to get Tiwa Jazzy. This what is the column array, right? So we know our column array is 3. So what we can do is we can now replace the role, right? What we have in role, instead of putting role, we just put that formula there, right? So we have that formula there, right, as our role, right? Now for our column, right? We also want to match a number for our column, right? So should it be country or gender? Because so we have country, we have gender, we have scores and math, right? So we can do the same thing, right? We do the match, right? Because now we need to know what column, right? Is it going to be column 1, column 2, column 3, right? So what column is country, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to match, right? Lookup value of country, right? And what's the lookup array? This lookup array, right? I hope you get it right. That's the lookup array, right? And we want exact match, right? That's 2. So we just copy this match bits, right? Copy it and replace it in this our column bits, right? We have a column, right? So instead of putting column, we put this formula, right? So now I can copy this formula now and paste it here, right? And I remove this index I put initially, and you can see give us Italy, right? So now I've combined index and 2 matches together, right? I know it may be very confusing and everything, but it's quite simple, right? It just we know index. Index will give us the reference, what is there, right? Match will give us the count or the positional row number, right? So match will give us the position number. So for index, we need 2 matches, right? So we need the row number. So we will match the row and match the column, right? So that's how we're able to get this, right? And I didn't lock it properly. So if I come here, we don't want this is our L4. Want to keep moving. We want to stay in 4, so we put our dollar sign for 4. These are K5. Want to stay in K, so put a dollar sign for K. Sorry, dollar sign, not 4. Dollar. What the press? The dollar sign in front of K. Right. We want to stay in K, so put the dollar sign here. Right. And now if you drag it down, you see we have that's right. But for Onyeka, you can see that it's giving us an error, right? The reason why it gives us an error is that, for example, now, if you see this Onyeka, there's a space after it. If you come this Onyeka, there's no space after it, right? So we have to be very careful that your unique identifier is actually unique identifier, right? So if I move this space here, you can see we give me my answer, right? So that's just something to be careful about, right? And now let's see if it works, if we move it downwards, you can see um it works, right? Give us gender, right? So with this one formula, you can just copy it all across and it give us our exact thing, right? That's how that's the power of index and match, right? So it knows that it's coming here for the match. The first Tiwa Savage is matching the name of the student, right? And this will just give us the match of the column, right? So I hope it's simple, right? I don't mind going over it again one last time, right? Just so we understand, right, how to put it together, right? I just go over it one last time, right? So this is not a formula because I put a sign in front of it, right? So I said what we do, right, is equals to index, right? Then the index to give us this is our we put our table, right? So index, the first one is the array. The array is our table, right? And we call our table apple, right? That way I have apple there. Right? The next one we need is a row number, right? After that we need a column number, right? Let me just put column number, right? And row number, right? So we need a column number and a row number, right? Now, what will give us a column number and a row number? We know it is a match that gives us a column number. So we need to match Tiwa Savage and we need to match country. We need to match Tiwa Savage and we need to match gender. Tiwa Jazzy is the role because it's in the role. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the role. The headers here are in the column, right? So we need to match the headers and we need to match the names, right? The names is a role and this is the column, right? So now let's write the formula to match um the rows. That's the names of students. So equals to match, right? The lookup value is this, right? And the lookup array now, right, is where exactly. So as I told you that match lookup array is only one thing, right? So lookup array is this, right? The students, right? And we said we want exact match, right? Even if even if see, like, because we didn't put exact match, it gave us a very funny figure, right? It gave us anything. So let's go back and put exact match, right? And it gave us what we want, 3, right? So now this is the formula for the row. This formula will give us the row count, right? So what I just did is I just replaced where we have row number, right? And put in that formula, right? That's fine. Now, the second one that we want to match is country, right? We know country is in column 2, but we don't want to type it manually. So we do match, right? And I want to match the country, but in this um array of columns, right? I will want the exact match. Don't forget to have to put the exact match. And give us 2, because country is 2. If you drag it, you see gender is 3, because that's what it is, right? So I'll copy this formula and replace it in this column number now. So instead of putting this column number, I will put that formula that we just did now, right? So now I will not copy this formula, right? I'm doing it separately just so we can see it, right? And if I paste it here and I remove this thing I put in front to stop the formula from working, right? Sorry. Yeah, I remove this equals to, second equals to as well. Right? And you can see that it works, right? There was 2 equals to in the formula, so it has to be just 1, right? So you can see it works, right? And if you copy it down, I'll obviously have to now lock it properly, right? So this K, I want it to move, I want it to remain in K, but it can move 5, 6, 7. So I will lock K alone. And this I want to remain in 4, but it can move from L, M, N, O, but it should remain in 4. So I lock that as well. So if I copy this formula and I drag it down, I can. So it does exactly what VLOOKUP would do, but in a more intuitive way. And now my for example, my students, for example, if I bring create a column and move this right to this column here, right? Sorry, because it's a data table. But basically, right, what I'm saying that my students do not necessarily have to be in the first column. They can be somewhere else. My unique identifier can be anywhere else. As long as I use the formula correctly, it will work, right? For VLOOKUP, I'm I'm constrained to allowing my unique identifier being my first row, my first column, right? I hope it's clear, right? Tomorrow, if you have any issues, we can go over it again, and we're also going to go over XLOOKUP. So XLOOKUP simplifies this, right, in a very simplified way, right? So you can do it more intuitively, right? That's that that's what the XLOOKUP came to solve, right? Instead of matching index and match, you can use XLOOKUP to just solve the same thing, right? But it's important to practice it, right? Because there are some things that index and match is just very nice to use, right? So sometimes instead of using VLOOKUP, I just try and use index and match. I know VLOOKUP will work, but I'll just index and match so that I just get more familiar with it, right? So thank you very much.
I hope that was simple enough, right? Don't worry if you don't get the first time, you can go by it over and over and over and over again. Index and match, very simple. I'll ask you to please subscribe to this channel so you'll be first to know, right? Because we still have some more videos to upload, right, for Date One Days, right? So please make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow in our live class where we're looking at XLOOKUP and how that is a easier escape from index and match. Thank you so much and see you tomorrow.